I shoot myself in the foot 50 different ways with Linux, but I won't switch. Welcome back to Some Simple Security, and today we're going to be going over VPNs. You've probably heard about them a lot: NordVPN, ExpressVPN, a whole bunch of them. So we're going to go over our own suggestions and a little bit of tips. I'm Terra.
And I am misticed. We both have a lot of experience using VPNs, and we both know pretty much the claims made by VPN companies, what truth there is to those, and sometimes some exaggerations. We both use them for our own personal privacy and security online as part of a bunch of other tools as well. Because these talks are going to be kind of modular, we're only going to be focusing on VPNs right now. So they're not a total security solution, but they are very useful for what they do.
They're like a wrench in your toolkit. It works really well for the job it does, but it's not for every job.
Yeah,
All
so and
right.
and what we're doing with these talks are hopefully providing modular things that don't necessarily rely on one another. But if you use more of the things that we suggest, you're generally going to be more secure. So if you find one of these modules more time consuming or difficult, feel free not to use them. As long as you're using more things to improve your digital security and your digital privacy, your life is going to be better. And I'm not going to browbeat anyone for not using encryption or perfect forward security. The idea is that these are tools that build upon each other. So the more you use, the better you're going to be. I don't have a vested interest in individuals, using security products the correct way. I just want them to begin to use them in ways that they're comfortable.
Yes, absolutely. Like right now with the whole TikTok ban, I have VPN on my phone, and I have apps that will probably get shut down in the US going through a VPN to another country. So it looks like it's in another country. And that's basically the entire point of a VPN. How about we start out with the suggestions?
Sure. So there are a few that we both trust. I've been following security for well over, well, let's say well over a decade, because I don't want to out myself for how old I am, but well over a decade. And the ones that I'm going to suggest are peer reviewed. A lot of security professionals do trust them. They come with high marks, and people have been looking at them for quite a while. The first one is going to be Proton VPN here. It's very easy to sign up. I believe if you sign up for a year, it's about $4.50 a year. We generally are going to be suggesting free products or things that won't cost you anything, things that will just cost you time and effort. However, with VPNs, you really do want to pay because if you're not paying, then the business model of that VPN is going to be looking at your data and perhaps selling that data to information brokers. And that is the exact opposite of what we want through all of these talks and modules.
Exactly. If you're not paying money, then what the cost is going to be is it's going to be you. It's going to be what you buy, what you browse, and what ads you watch. And they're going to be using all of that to cover that cost. And we'd rather you just pay and save your privacy.
Right. And so another thing that VPNs do is they basically encrypt everything from your computer itself to the VPN's server somewhere else. So if you live in a place where you only have access to one ISP, one internet service provider, like AT&T or Comcast, they may have data privacy policies that are actively not in your best interest. So it can be beneficial to not let them see what you're doing online. A helpful way to do that is to have a VPN provider that is not in the same legal jurisdiction that you are in. So this might be a little technical, but if you live in America and you are subject to American jurisdiction, it might be helpful to have your VPN based outside of that jurisdiction. Now, this is not to say that you should be doing anything illegal. However, some things may become illegal in the short term that shouldn't be illegal, such as searching for healthcare or hormone replacement therapy or even going to a gun show. if you're afraid of the government knowing that you are purchasing firearms and you're worried that they're going to come take your guns. You may not want this information out there and subpoenaable through a United States company.
All right, so where is Proton based in?
That is Swiss. So they're in the European Union, which actually has very good data privacy laws. And then it is right here on their front page that they do no logs. So even if someone did ask for the logs of what you have done, they don't actually keep them. So if someone were to compel them to do it, they don't even have it to give. So, and that's going to be a common theme among some of these VPNs.
Yeah, and actually, that's a great endpoint to lead into one that I'm suggesting, which is Mullvad, Mullvad. It is based in Sweden. It's one that I trust a lot. It is actually very cost effective. I mean, even just going into pricing, it's €3 a month, or not €3, €5 a month. And that is consistent whether you buy it for a month, a year, or a decade, because this seems to be the only one that lets you pay a decade in advance.
That's astounding. I've not seen that.
All of them still €5 a month, and they have the conversions down at the bottom for US, Canada. I believe that's Switzerland. I could be wrong. Probably Sweden, Australia, and Canadian dollars. So you can see what it would actually cost you. They even have a tool where when you connect the VPN, you can see if you have any DNS leaks or WebRTC leaks. Those are topics for another video, but it just ensures that your connection is secure. And here's a short blog post. You can pause and read it if you like, but they were subject to a search warrant. They complied, but they couldn't give any data over because they didn't hold any data. And this is active on their blog, as you can see, posted in April 20th, 2023.
Awesome. And then the last one, which is actually the one that I use, and this is still based in the US. I don't know if you can tell from my accent, but I am also US based. But Mozilla is a great organization. They are not an ad supported company. They are donation based, and they have been working for well over 20 years to make the internet a better place and a safer place. So they do that through Firefox, Thunderbird, Mozilla VPN, and some other things here. Focusing on the Mozilla VPN, it's very easy to use. I have it pulled up here. So I am actually speaking through Vancouver right now. This can have an impact on speed. I have a very high bandwidth through my ISP, but since all of my stuff is going to be going through this VPN, it might actually slow some things down. So that's something to consider when you have a VPN. Also, some websites like Reddit will not let you browse anonymously right here.
Yeah, it says blocked by network security.
Use VPNs to harass people or dox people or do antisocial things. So this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just something to consider when you want your VPN on or when you want it off, because you may see some degradation in service when you have the VPN on, but using the VPN when you're doing something sensitive, making sure you clear your cookies and your browser history, and then starting a new browser setup using a new browser instance with a VPN turned on is going to help. And again, we'll go into some other things that will add on to that security.
I mean, you listed a bunch of negatives. I have a couple positives on using a VPN. There are websites that don't block you from using a VPN, like Reddit, but YouTube, you can actually go onto a VPN and check out what other countries are seeing on their front pages. I also do a lot of online gaming, and sometimes my ping or my latency is a little bit too high, but once I fire up the VPN, it goes down by 10 or 20, depending on where I'm connecting to. But it's really just whatever your use case is, there are ups and downs to using a VPN.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people will say that using a VPN isn't as secure because it'll do some things with DNS that may leak what websites you're looking at. They may say That's not perfect security, and that's basically what we're saying too. It's not perfect, but it does actually put roadblocks up to anyone trying to compromise your information or act in something that's not your best interest. They may be scammers, they may be governments, they may be advertising companies, they could be roommates, all of this stuff. Anyone looking to compromise your information is going to have a harder time when you're using a VPN.
And it's also a great idea to use one when you're doing your work from a coffee shop so that you don't leak company data, or when you're banking at a coffee shop, because you don't want anybody to be able to easily access that data.
Yeah, I think that's it's pretty good for VPNs. I think I said everything that I had to say on that.
All right, well, anyway, this has been Some Simple Security with Terra and Mist, and we will see you in the next video.
Absolutely. Next one, I think I want to do Tor browser maybe, because I think that fits in with VPN.